The Mi 9 is the company's first smartphone to pack Qualcomm's latest chipset, the Snapdragon 855. The new processor and graphics are pretty exciting even if 5G isn't part of the package. Just like the Mi 8, the Mi 9 employs the dual glass sandwich design with a metal frame sitting between two sheets of Gorilla Glass. The AMOLED screen grew taller, while the notch and the bezels have shrunk. And now there is an under-display fingerprint sensor on all versions, previously available only on the Mi 8 Pro. Probably the most interesting bit of the Mi 9 is its main camera, the first triple setup on a Xiaomi phone ever. It's the most versatile kind too, a regular snapper, an ultra-wide cam, and a 2x zoom shooter. The Mi 9 supports faster wired charging than the Mi 8, but more excitingly it comes with the fastest wireless charging of any phone to date, rated at up to 20 watts. The software package befits a flagship too, it's Android Pie with the MIUI 10. Xiaomi has never launched a certified waterproof smartphone, and if you expected the Mi 9 to have an IP rating, we have to disappoint you. The other less than ideal bits are the lack of a 3.5mm audio port and stereo speakers. Even the Pocophone F1 had two speakers, so why the cutting-edge Mi 9 lacks those is rather hard to explain. Xiaomi was never big on memory expansion, so the lack of a microSD card slot is more or less expected. Design. The Xiaomi Mi 9 is a really beautifully made piece of kit. This is a slim, weighty metal frame covered entirely in glass. It has a gorgeous 6.3-inch AMOLED screen with an excellent 90.7% screen-to-body ratio. It's only Full HD+, rather than Quad HD+ like some of the competition, but you would never notice looking at it. And audio is just fine despite coming out of a single speaker down the bottom. The screen is also covered in Gorilla Glass 5, which is great news because I keep dropping my review unit. Features. This slim design doesn't come without its compromises. The Xiaomi Mi 9 unfortunately does not sport a headphone jack or a microSD card, though it does have dual SIM. That's a shame because the version I tested is only sporting 64GB of internal storage. There's a 128GB version available too, but either way you'll need to be careful about running out of storage. What's also a little lacking is the battery, which is only 3300 mAh. During actual use however, I found it to be adequate. I was able to use the Mi 9 a fair amount throughout the day, including video playback and gaming, and only needed to top up come evening. The good news of course is that you get some impressive 20 watts wireless charging. Another interesting feature is the in-display fingerprint sensor. It has a nice animation, and you can even long press the sensor to access useful app shortcuts. It works really well, though it's not quite as quick as an old-fashioned fingerprint sensor. You can use other methods, including facial recognition, but it's not the ultra-secure 3D facial recognition seen on the Mi 8. Another handy shortcut is the dedicated Assistant button up on the top left which will trigger Google Assistant. And if you want, you can also map this to a bunch of other things, like the flashlight. Software. The Xiaomi Mi 9 is packing the latest version of MIUI 10, on top of Android Pie. The result is actually pretty good. Xiaomi began life as a custom ROM maker, so they should know what they're doing. I've never been particularly fond of the look of MIUI myself, which takes a few too many cues from iOS, but the Apple-inspired look has been toned down a lot lately, and now has a pleasantly minimalist aesthetic. Everything is quick and snappy, and while I have seen one or two bugs, they were rare and minor. Performance. This is one of the very first devices to sport the Snapdragon 855 chipset, which means it is more than capable of annihilating whatever you throw at it. It goes without saying that navigating the UI and browsing the web were super quick and responsive affairs. To be honest, I can't see you needing more power than this for a while. Photo camera. The last piece of the puzzle is the camera, which should be pretty impressive, clocking in with its combination of huge 48 megapixels primary lens, 12 megapixels telephoto, and 16 megapixels ultra-wide lens. But it's not all about pixel count. The Xiaomi Mi 9 delivers 4-in-1 pixel binning to ensure you get the very most from its shooter. Photos are sharp and detailed, with punchy colors, and great dynamic range. Those sensitive pixels also ensure noise is kept to a minimum in low light settings. Autofocus works well, and the relatively large aperture on the main lens is excellent for depth effects. There's also a pro mode in there, if you want to play around with the settings yourself. Bokeh effects also work well, and do a great job of isolating the subject without cutting off ears. Photos do have an ugly watermark at the bottom by default, so you'll want to turn that off in the settings right away. The ultra-wide-angle lens is also something that's very welcome. With a 117-degree field of view, it's not quite up there with the 123-degree lens on the Galaxy S10, but it's still plenty wide. This opens up lots of possibilities, from group shots and filming yourself for vlogs, to getting nice wide-angle vistas. Having a zoom lens also comes in handy for the occasional extreme close-up, and snapping things in the distance without losing quality. The combination of these features basically gives you plenty of options for messing around and getting the perfect shot for the situation. It's not all perfect though, as the post-processing adds a bit of unwanted saturation, though this can be circumvented. On the whole, however, the Xiaomi Mi 9 is a fantastic shooter. That's a great choice for amateur photographers or social media lovers. Speaking of social media aficionados, the 20-megapixel selfie lens will no doubt make that audience happy, as will the variety of modes and features on offer here. Video is also good on the whole, capable of shooting up to 4K at 30 FPS. There's no optical image stabilization, but the electronic one is actually really good. Video on the selfie camera is excellent too, offering fantastic quality for any vloggers out there. Verdict: Xiaomi Mi 9 is a thoughtfully designed and nicely executed flagship, but we can't shake the feeling most of the upgrades are incremental at best. However, the Mi 9 indeed has one of the most versatile snappers around, with great image and video quality, and it easily undercuts most direct rivals on pricing.